Hey, welcome to Dub Talk Live, brought to you by Mancini Sleep World with Warriors insider Monte Poole. I'm Kerith Burke.
She's back.
Hey, I'm back. The Nuggets get the 4-0 season sweep. The Warriors in this game had a 16-point lead that vanished. The last time they played the Nuggets, they had an 18-point lead that vanished. I'm looking at something on Warriors on NBC's Twitter. It says the Warriors are tied with the Spurs for having the most losses this season when they led at one point in a game by 15. Okay, so they have 7 such losses, again, tied for first in the league with the San Antonio Spurs. This one stings, Monty, because the Warriors look great at the start of the game.
Yeah.
They did not finish that way.
Yeah, I mean, the last one stings harder because of the way they lost it.
The Jokic three.
Yeah, when you hit a 40-foot three that banks in, I mean, that just stuns you for a couple of days, you know. But this was bad because, the Warriors had been on such a roll. I mean, they planned so well, and they had this game right where they wanted it midway through the second quarter. And also, you look at what happened today. I mean, the Lakers lost. The Mavericks lost. So the Pelicans lost. All these teams that they're fighting with.
Yeah.
And this is an opportunity. If you win this game, it's a huge statement. And they had a chance, and they botched it.
Yeah, the Warriors did not have a chance to make a statement against the defending champs. Instead, they've had 2 consecutive games now where they've scored less than 105 points. The turnovers in this one concerned me. Now, it wasn't as bad against the Hornets. They had 22 against the Hornets, but 17 turnovers. Hang on, let me double. 17 turnovers tonight. There are just a few things that are making my antenna twitch. Do you think this is just a blip, Monty, as they head on the road?
No, I think today, I don't think the the turnovers hurt them that badly. They gave up 10 points off turnovers, which is not a bad number. But
you interrupt your own flow, right?
Yes,
the pace is not going.
That's where I'm going. And so the offense broke down a few times because they turned the ball over. I mean, Draymond had 6 turnovers tonight, and it's not that they were led to breakaway dunks or anything, but what was happening and what he was doing and a couple other guys were doing, where they were trying to force passes. It's hard to throw a 5-foot pass in the paint, because everybody's there. And next thing you know, you got a bigger team. Denver's a big team. You throw it up, they get it. You throw it down, they can get it. So there were many instances in this game that I think the Warriors just didn't play didn't have a smooth defense going. They had it going early.
Yeah.
And they lost it along the way, and I think that's what cost them mostly.
Well, they had it going early because Klay Thompson had it going early. Woo! Yes, that's the noise tonight for Klay. He raced to 23 points with about 6 minutes left in the second quarter. So 23 points tied his season high for most in a half. He had 5 3-pointers in this one, but then the score froze there for Klay. His point total froze with 23 points. He did not score again in this game, and it's kind of quirky that he finished the Warriors' leading scorer in this one.
Yeah,
this was a weird one to me.
Well, I mean, Klay is so great when he finds a rhythm.
Yeah.
And he's one of the few guys in this league that when he finds a rhythm, it's like anything he throws up is going to go in. That's how it feels, and you're surprised when it doesn't. But as the Warriors' offense got disrupted, so did his rhythm and everybody else. Nobody else ever really had any rhythm. So Klay had a chance early on to be, quote unquote, the savior, because Steph obviously looks like he's fatigued and not playing really well right now. But yeah, later in the game, as the game went on, the Warriors' offense broke down, and next thing you know, Klay wasn't able to get back into the flow that he had earlier.
Klay, the leading scorer off the bench. It is interesting that he's coming off the bench. I kind of wonder how long might this be the case?
Well, this is the 3rd game, and so you look at that. No, this is the 4th game.
Because it's the game right before the All-Star break.
This is the 4th game. And Steve said he's going to look at it for a while because the lineup they have, the starting lineup they have right now, has the best analytics, and their plus minus is by far the best 5 that the team has. And the thing is about Podziemski instead of Klay is that Podziemski does a couple things. One, he speeds things up, and the Warriors want to play with pace. And 2, he makes so many different plays in ways that most guys don't. He's a rebounder. He's a playmaker. He's a charge drawer.
Yeah, charge taker. Okay.
Yeah, and he's also one of those guys. He gets deflections. He just does stuff that kind of disrupt the opposing offense. And so he can help this team in so many ways. And so I think he fills in kind of like Andre Iguodala did. He fills in so many gaps, that WD-40 guy, that when things aren't quite working, put him out there, and all of a sudden things work a lot smoother. And that's what BP has been doing. So the lineup is going to stay for a while. I mean, no reason why it wouldn't. I mean, tonight they played a team that's Well, they play the best 5-man unit, starting unit in the league tonight. Denver's best league.
What happens, and I'm with you as far as Podziemski with what he brings on the glass, what he brings as far as a playmaker. What happens if he's not a scorer, though, and he's with Draymond on the floor, who's not typically a high scorer either?
That can be an issue. You know, Podziemski he can make the shots, but yeah, lately his percentage isn't that great. You know, and so you look at tonight's game, and I think the last couple of games. He had one game where he was really good offensively, very productive. But for the most part, he's been in that 8, 10, 12 range. And you might need a little more from him. But he does, like I say, he's kind of like Andre, where, you know, you don't look at his points and say, okay, that's what he did, because you look at all the other little areas in the book on the stat sheet.
Yeah, I guess everybody has their job there.
Right.
Steph's job has been the team's leading scorer, although that was not the case tonight. And it feels like this is a continuation of something Steve Kerr said, you know, where Steph went to the All-Star game, then he had a little mini vacation, then he came back and played a back-to-back. And Steph looks tired, and you can see it tonight. It wasn't much of an efficient game for Steph. 6 of 9, 1 of 10. Did have 7 points from the stripe, finished with 20 points. But what are you seeing as far as Steph's legs?
Yeah, I mean, he's just a little off, I think. And I thought he looked tired in the previous game, you know, so when they played the Hornets. The game before that, when he came back at the first game of the break, he was fresh. He looked great. You know, he came out to shoot and was getting buckets early. But against the Hornets last night, Friday night, I just didn't think that he looked himself, you know, and it's not because the Hornets were defending him that great. You know, he just didn't look like he found his game. And tonight, Denver is a much better defense than Charlotte is. So you combine their better defense and the fact that Steph is playing under a little bit of physical stress. I think that kind of gives you a reason why he's 6 of 19 and 1 of 10.
Steph shoulders so much of the load. You know, understandably, there could be an accumulation of things on his legs. So Steve Kerr said he's going to ask Rick Celebrini, that is Dr. Rick Celebrini, is it time to give Steph a break? Would there be an opportunity? There's a back-to-back coming up on the road trip. I feel like Steve is saying they got to do something to help out Steph, and that might be a rest night.
Well, I mean, and Chris Paul will be joining the team back on this road trip, maybe as soon as Tuesday. So if Chris is back, Steph gets it's an automatic rest for Steph. You know, he gets to play the non-Steph minutes, but also some Steph minutes to give Steph off the ball. So I think maybe the best thing for Steph right now is that Chris is coming back and just kind of eases his load a little bit. And you won't have to wait too long for that. They'll fly out of here tomorrow morning and get to D.C. and play the Wizards on Tuesday. And then you're right, Friday's back-to-back on Thursday and Friday. But the schedule's not going to be giving him any breaks. It's a relentless schedule right now, and some of that's because of the postponed games. Yeah. You know, but it's a tough schedule and a lot of road heavy schedule. All
right, we have to look to the other team tonight, Nikola Jokic, for our BMW Ultimate Performer. 32, 16, and 16. Okay, he had 13 makes. 11 of them were in the paint, and I wonder, is the question for the Warriors, again, we've talked about it this season, do they have enough size to contend with some of the best centers in the West when it comes to the postseason?
Well, Joker is not like
he might be one of one.
Yeah, there's nobody in the West like him. They have some big bodies in the West for sure. I mean, most teams, the teams that have been in front of the Warriors all season, all have big men ahead of them. You know, whether it's Zubac and with the Clippers, or Chet with the OKC, Nurkic in Phoenix. You know, then you got Cat and Rudy Gobert, both in Minnesota. Yes. So all these teams have huge bodies ahead of that are ahead of the Warriors, have huge bodies. But Joker, what hurt the Warriors more than his 32 points were his 16 assists. You know, I mean, if Joker gets 30 or 40 or even 50. You can live with that if the other guys aren't getting theirs. Sure. But today, he had other guys getting theirs. You know, he had 3 other guys going in double figures. And so Jamal Murray got 27, Aaron Gordon 17. So you get other guys involved, and that's when the Denver offense really starts to click, because Joker alone cannot carry the offense. But he can certainly sort of distribute to the right guy at the right time, because his passing is top-notch. Looking at Denver's starting 5, you got to be looking at one of the best in the league right now. It is the best. Yeah. It was the best. It was the second best last year, behind the Warriors' old starting lineup, which no longer is their starting lineup. But they were second best last year, and this year they're number 1, and it's solid. I mean, they're one of those teams that knows who's going to be on the floor to open games and who's going to be out there to close games.
Yeah. What do you think about the job that Draymond does on Jokic? And we're talking about Jokic again after 32, 16, and 16, but he's such a forceful player and MVP. Draymond was guarding Jokic tonight. Draymond only had one foul. It feels like he's doing it clean. It feels like he studies Jokic. But it's still a tall task for Draymond. Tall, literally. I'm not trying to make that joke, but there it is. Those kind of matchups, like that can wear down Draymond.
Yeah, he's given up 6 inches to Joker and probably 50 pounds. And so Draymond, the best he can do is make him work. He's not going to stop him. Nobody's going to stop Joker. That just doesn't happen. Make him work and hope he has an off night. Well, tonight he didn't have an off night.
Nope.
32, 16, and 16.
He had that triple-double in the third quarter.
Yeah. Second quarter.
Second quarter?
Yeah,
He arrived at
second quarter. Yeah.
Monte.
Yeah. I mean, he was there. So you look at that and. Maybe I'm right. Maybe it was second. Maybe it was third quarter.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Regardless.
He had one quick. He had one early.
Yeah. Regardless.
But I think with Draymond, what you want to see him do is just make him work.
Yeah.
But the thing about Joker is that making him work. Okay, does that mean you want to stop him from getting other people involved, or stop him from getting his? And I think Draymond's thing is just stop him from dominating the game.
Yeah.
And tonight, it didn't work.
No, it didn't. All right. When we come back, Monte already mentioned we've got this road trip coming up. What does it look like when CP3 comes back? How much is he going to handle? And what does it mean for some of the odd men out? Oh, Steph. That's how he feels after this game.
Nap.
Is he praying? Is he meditating? Maybe he's just chilling. All right. We'll be right back on Dubstock Live, brought to you by Mancini Sleep World.
Dubs Talk Live is presented by Mancini Sleep World. Visit Mancini Sleep World. We'll pay the sales tax on select mattresses. Or visit sleepworld.com.
Oh, yeah. He was well on his way to a triple-double. All right. Let me look for the link. Excellent.
Ooh.
Please. Yes, let's do that.
Klay
Hey, guys, I'm being a little
Thompson.
slow. Sorry, trying to pull up this YouTube link for you. We just got word that Klay Thompson is coming to the podium.
Klay Thompson. Yep.
I talked to Klay about something other than basketball post-game. He said he was excited to see the Bob Marley movie.
Well, he's been saying that for a while.
Yeah.
He's looking forward to it.
Yes. All right, Reem says we need more TJD. That's kind of interesting as far as the size conversation. That was something I had on my paper, but I kind of moved it along. Maybe we'll come back to that. 2 blocks for TJD in this one.
Yeah, I mean, Trace makes a difference every time he comes out there.
Yeah.
He didn't get a lot of time against Joker.
Is that a rookie thing? Because
Largely.
Joker's tough. Looney didn't get a lot of time against.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, if you're going to play Trace against Joker, it's probably best to do it in the regular season. Get him, because this is the team. If you see him in the postseason, I'm not sure Trace will play at all, because you want your guys out there who are familiar with Joker's game. Maybe they contain him, maybe they don't, but at least they know what to expect from Joker game in, game out. They know what he does. Trace is still learning those things, and he's going to learn the hard way because he's in this league on this team, and you're going to see him. But the best that Trace can do when he comes in there is play the non-Joker minutes, which is kind of what he did tonight.
Yeah.
And he looked pretty good in the non-Joker minutes.
Yeah. Somebody pointed out that Draymond had some mental lapses tonight.
Oh,
He
man.
had 6 turnovers in
Yes.
this game. That is
Yes.
abnormal for Draymond. Oh, Monte, we've got a trade proposal. Are you ready?
Oh,
Trade
trade deadline
Steph
passed.
to the Hornets for 5 first-round picks and LaMelo Ball. You guys are crazy. Hey everybody, welcome back to Dubstock Live, brought to you by Mancini Sleep World. Let's hear from the leading scorer this evening. It was Klay Thompson with 23 points. He just sat down at the podium.
Just from a team defense standpoint, what makes Jokic so challenging?
Well, he's really big. He's very nimble, and he's got great touch. He's got great vision, and he had a monster night tonight. But just one of the best players in the world.
How and why do you think this game kind of flipped so drastically like it did?
I think we may have relaxed a little bit when we got up 15. Can't do that against defending champs. But we'll learn from it and start a new win streak on the road.
You had 23, in 10, 11 minutes, and then finished with 23. What were you just not able to get the same looks in the second half?
Yeah, I just took. I took 2 great looks from 3. Third one might have been a little rushed, but I just got to do a better job of inserting myself in the flow of the offense in moments like that. Not even just to shoot, but just to make plays and feel the leather. And usually, when you do that, you generate good looks.
Klay, before the game, Steve was saying that he was applauding your approach to coming off the bench and saying he thought you were more relaxed and had a better mindset than you had a couple of weeks ago. Do you feel that? And just how has this stretch been since coming back from the All-Star break?
It's been great. I feel refreshed, especially mentally, from the All-Star break. And, I never looked at coming off the bench really as demotion, considering I'm still playing 25 to 30 minutes a night. I'm been in this league a long time, and to still be contributing at a high level and playing those type of minutes, you got to be grateful for that.
Have you changed up your routine at all pregame to kind of adjust for coming, into the game later with 7 minutes left or 6.5 minutes left?
Not really, to be honest. I still just trying to stay loose on the sideline, be myself, and just play with a free mind, and just be myself when my number's called.
How easy or hard is it to jump into the middle of a game? You say touch the leather, you haven't been playing, to feel like you're right in the flow when you're coming off the bench?
It's not that difficult, because usually coach will call a set for me or point guard. So the adjustment's been pretty easy, and still played most minutes tonight, and coming off the bench, so it's not the end of the world.
Klay, what's the difference in your mind on the road with this year's team versus last year? You guys are obviously more successful on the road, and you have a bunch of road games coming up.
It's a good question. I don't know. I just think we've been able to close out games better on the road this year, and we're leaning on everyone to play. And guys are ready when their number's called. You might not get a lot of tick the night before, but the next night could be completely different. So we've had guys who are being great pros and competing when they're called upon.
Chris could come back on the road trip. What are you expecting from him, and to add to the second unit? And then just what ways has he stayed engaged despite missing time?
I expect Chris to be himself, and that's just one of the greatest playmakers, a pesky defender, and just to kind of right the ship when Steph needs a break. It's very exciting, and I'm excited to step on the floor with him and lead that second unit. I think we could be can't really ask for a better backcourt to come off the bench with, so it's very exciting, to be honest.
Let's go back to something that's Klay just said right there. He wants to play with a free mind and be myself, because as you mentioned, he's been coming off the bench for a couple of these games. He looked great in this game, and you got that question, is it difficult to come off the bench? And he said, no, not really. They'll call a set for me, and you saw how he started to get cooking. Yeah. This could be an interesting role for Klay.
Yeah, when he first came off the bench against Utah, post-game, he was saying that, he thought about Manu Ginobili and said, this guy's in the Hall of Fame. He came off the bench, so obviously nobody looks down at him because he came off the bench. Right. He's still in the Hall. So I think initially the thought of Klay coming off the bench probably in his mentally thought, I don't really, that's not me. That's not who I am, because he hadn't come off the bench since he was a rookie. So you look at that, and now looking back, in that game against Utah, he was tremendous. Yeah. Came off the bench, gave him a spark.
35 points, right?
Yeah.
His best game of the season.
Yeah, and I think you look at what Klay's career is now, the injuries he's been through, 2 devastating injuries, come back to play high-level basketball, but he's not come back to play all-star level basketball, which is what his goal. I think he now knows that, okay, maybe the all-star game is a thing of the past for him. Right now, he can still be a very good contributor on this team, especially off the bench, because every team needs somebody who can give them offense, provide offense off the bench, and I'm not sure there's anyone in this league right now who does it better than Klay can.
All right, just got word that Steph Curry sat down at the podium. Here's Steph.
They hit some tough shots. We had some open looks that didn't go down, and then they made us pay on the back end. Their style of play, when they're able to push in transition, Jokic at the top or Jamal with the ball, requires a great effort to try to slow their momentum down. And they made us pay for like 5-6 possessions in a row, and it got to the free throw line, I think, twice, slowed the game down a little bit. So you credit them. It's been maybe 3 games like this, obviously not in the fourth quarter like last game here, but where we've had a significant lead, and they're a great team that didn't panic and slowly walked us down. It was just one of those tough stretches that gave them life, and they took advantage of it.
You've played in all but 3 games this season. Steve was saying, he said a couple times recently, he thinks you might be a little fatigued. Do you feel fatigued
No.
now? Do you not want to rest at all coming up?
No.
Okay. What 3 out of your last 4 games, shooting numbers have been down, just missing shots, or what would you kind of attribute it to?
Yeah, you miss shots. Like it's one of those things. That's why they're called averages. Like, you got the highs and the lows of it, and nobody. Again, the standard that you set, when you don't meet it, there's questions about are your legs tired, or no, you just miss shots and you keep shooting. It's part of the nature of being available and playing every game, which never lose confidence and come back, whatever it is, Monday, try to shoot well on the road.
Steph, before the game, Steve was saying that he thought that Klay's mindset was improved over the last couple of days or weeks, and he's more relaxed and accepting of kind of coming off the bench or his new role. What do you see from him and how he's contributing?
Exactly that. Even the game, I think was the LA game. He only had 3 points. It was one of the better, all-around floor games that he's had, where he took what the defense gave him. He took the shots he was supposed to, shoot. Some of them, or most of them, didn't go in, but the way that the game flows and where he gets his opportunities, he was always just making the right play, playing great defense on whoever his matchup was. Got us some rebounds, extra possessions that way. And then like tonight, it's kind of the opposite, where he's hot and keeping us, giving us a huge lead and a huge boost. And for like the first 9 minutes he was out there. So it all comes from understanding that no matter if it's a starting role, bench role, whatever it is, he's still Klay Thompson, and he can come in and do exactly what he did tonight. I know he wanted to, shoot better in the second half, but the more reps he gets and more confidence he has to just go out there and just play basketball and don't let the narratives kind of consume him, that's when he's at his best.
Steve also said he thought Chris's return, which is obviously coming up on this trip, would help you relieve some of the burden. And obviously playing, he'll play the minutes you're not out there, but you guys also play together quite a bit. How do you see his impact on both the team and yourself?
I'm excited about it. Just when he got hurt, we were not in a great place, and trying to, again, establish our identity. We've had a pretty good run, and built some momentum since he's been out, but he's such a connector and a floor general and a guy that gets everybody in the right spot. So whether it's when I'm on the bench or the rotations where we're on the court at the same time, it'll hopefully elevate us to another level where he gets comfortable, gets his legs underneath him, and again, just does what he does. And that on top of how we've been playing up until tonight, hopefully allow us to keep building.
All right, Steph Curry, not tired. Okay, let's take a look at the schedule when we come back on Dubs Talk Live, brought to you by Mancini Sleep World. Speaking of being tired. You caught me.
It
You
happens.
caught me.
It happens.
Ann says Klay cooled off after Steve subbed him out. Yeah, I think that was his usual substitution pattern.
Yeah, I mean, just because the guy's hot, you don't leave him in there for the whole half.
Why not? That's a lot of fun. What?
Yeah, it is. It is.
I know.
But you have guys on the bench that need to come in and give you something other than what the guy's giving. So, sometimes you can extend them a couple of minutes because they're hot, but you don't want to extend the guy 24, And so
I gotcha.
But I think the offense changed. I don't think Denver's defense changed that much. I think the Warriors' offense changed after that. And it wasn't because of Klay's absence. It's just that they just became a lot less they played basketball unlike the Warriors like to play. Early on, the ball was moving. They're getting decent shots, and then as the game went on, they started, forcing passes and kind of doing like the one-pass possessions and stuff. That's not Warriors basketball, but that's what you started seeing. And it's like, okay, even a couple of no-pass possessions. The guy who took the ball up would take the shot, and the other 4 guys are watching.
There was one time when Pajemski was going one-on-one against Aaron Gordon, and I was like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, he's huge. What are you doing? He's staying in front of you. What are you doing?
That's what I'm saying. So they botched a number of possessions that way. And when you do that, over the course of a quarter, several times, the whole quarter becomes jumbled, and it becomes hard to find it to get it back together. So tonight they didn't.
Flo, can I ask you, was it 31 for Jordan Poole? Okay.
Tonight?
Yeah.
That is awesome.
31?
31 points?
31 points.
Awesome.
Okay. All right.
Great to hear. Great to see.
Yeah.
I'm writing about him. So.
Oh, good. We're back on Dubstock Live, taking a look at the 4-game road trip. Wizards, Knicks, and Raptors on a back-to-back, and then the Celtics. So look at the next week coming up. That's 3 games in 4 days. And if Steph Curry is tired, if the analytics indicate or whatever they're looking at as far as, the body tracking, which game would you pick to rest Steph?
Washington, the first one.
Me too, kind of, but wouldn't you also be like, well, wait, there's a back-to-back. That's the most
But
strenuous
if you miss that game, then you've got 4 days between games. You don't play again until Thursday.
Yeah.
So, but I'm not sure that will happen. But here's the thing, though. Chris Paul is going to be back at some point, and maybe Tuesday.
So it depends on Chris.
So yes, and that's a factor. And also, you can play Steph fewer minutes if you got Chris.
Yes.
You drop his minutes a little bit, and that gives him help. But if you want to give him a complete night off, I think the first game, the Wizards are not very good.
Okay.
I know you're the Warriors, and you don't want to take any win for granted, but that's the one I look at.
Yeah. All right. Steve Kerr said that CP3 will play all of the non-Steph minutes. So we're keeping an eye on when Chris Paul will be coming back during this road trip. Yeah, this road trip is tough. The Warriors 2 games above 500. They want to stay above 500.
If they can win 3, that'd be tremendous. If they split the road trip, it's acceptable.
Okay. All right. The conversation will continue. We'll be back for the Dubs Talk, the podcast. And thanks, as always, for joining us on YouTube. We will see you again soon. All right. And us is saying Washington.
We got you two. Who we got?
And us is saying Washington, the Warriors can play their Santa Cruz squad and win.
Ooh, I don't know, man. Jordan Poole heating up over there.
I am looking
You got
forward
Kyle
to
Kuzma
seeing
over there.
Jordan Poole.
Yeah.
I'll keep an eye on him.
He's had a rough season, but I mean, I'm hoping that he can pull out of this.
I do too.
Yeah, I think that people here, they want him to pull out of this.
Do you remember the last time the Wizards came to town here?
Yeah.
How warmly Jordan Poole was greeted.
Yes. No, he got a lot of fans in the locker room and also in the building.
Yeah.
So I mean, I talked to someone who's not a player or a coach, and he said watching Jordan this year the words he used were, "It's eating me up." Because they like him.
Yeah.
And to see him struggle, and he's become a regular on Shaq and the Fool, which nobody wants to be that guy.
No.
He's become that guy, and you have people on another network, ESPN, saying that his contract might be the worst in the league now, and his metrics are, his analytics are really down, and how good he was a couple of years ago. Yeah. So it's not like, okay, now that he's 25 or whatever he is, he's old. No. No, but you do wonder how much impact that one incident has had on him.
Yeah.
Last year we saw it, and I think they thought, okay, he's going to go to Washington and get a fresh start. And it doesn't help that he's on a team that's going nowhere.
Yeah. Some of it, though, was his choice to leave. And when you
I think he was
decide,
good with that, yeah.
I mean, when you play next to Steph Curry, who makes everybody look better,
Yeah.
when you're playing with one of the best of all time, and then suddenly you remove Steph from the equation, and it does fall all on you.
Yeah.
I like a player who takes a risk on himself, who believes in himself. That's Jordan Poole. We know he's an excellent shooter. But, man, you've got to have support around you. You have to... there's a lot to work on in your game when you're not playing alongside Steph.
Yeah, you've got to. Jordan has to fix his game because, I mean, his percentages are low, his turnovers are high, and he just looks like someone who is out of sorts.
Yeah.
And a couple of years ago in the playoffs, 22 playoffs, Jordan was tremendous. And the Warriors were. I mean, if they didn't have him in those playoffs, I'm not sure, and they would have lost a couple of games they won. So. Last year, obviously, he took a major step back, and I think they thought, okay, now you go to Washington, fresh start, and maybe this is a chance to sort of rediscover your game, and it just hasn't worked out. And there are times when he just looks like he's lost out there.
Yeah, and that's too bad. We really wish the best for Jordan Poole.
Absolutely.
All right, we'll be back soon when the Warriors head